Good evening and thanks for joining us for 41 NBC News at 11. I'm Ariel Schiller. Tucker Sargent has the night off. To our top story tonight at 11. A shooting last night leaves a 1-year-old dead and his sister fighting for her life. 41 NBC's Brick Nelson tells us how the Fort Valley Police Department is handling this investigation.
Here at Lakeview Apartments in Fort Valley, little is still known about a terrible shooting involving 2 children late Wednesday night.
This is a tragic event, and again, our thoughts and prayers go out to this family.
Fort Valley responded to a shooting around 10:45 Wednesday night at Lakeview Apartments. When they arrived on scene, police found 2 children with gunshot wounds inside an apartment. 1-year-old Marcus Ball was pronounced dead on scene, while his 2-year-old sister Markelly Ball was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Fort Valley Police Chief Roy Thompson says they have a person of interest, but they still need your help in this case.
We welcome any assistance from the community, any witnesses, or any information at all about this case to assist with the investigation.
Chief Roy Thompson says the department is also helping to organize safer security measures as well.
We are working with apartment management at this time to create a more comprehensive security plan, as we have already started to develop that security plan.
Andrew Marshall lives down the road from Lakeview Apartment and was scared when the shooting happened. She hopes the community will come together to prevent more violence.
My heart goes out to my neighbors because I love my neighbors. It's unfortunate that this has happened again.
In Peach County, Brick Nelson, 41 NBC News.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is also handling this case. If you have any tips, please call Fort Valley Police at 478-825-3383. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is looking into the death of a woman who died while in custody of Hancock County Sheriff's Office. The GBI says Hancock County Sheriff deputies were called to a home on Hickory Grove Church Road in Sparta on July 15th. That's where 28-year-old Brianna Marie Greer was arrested. While deputies were taking her to the sheriff's office, she fell out of a patrol car and sustained significant injuries. Today, Greer died from her injuries. Her body will be taken to the GBI crime lab for an autopsy. The Washington County Sheriff's Office is looking for a wanted teenager. 18-year-old Andrea Harris is wanted in connection to a shooting that sent 1 man to the hospital. It happened on Ivy Drive in the Parson Crossing community on July 14th. If you have any information or know where Harris is, call the Washington County Sheriff's Office at 478-552-0911. Well, new tonight at 11, a lightning strike left a home on Peninsula Avenue unlivable. According to the Macon-Bibb County Fire Department Battalion Chief Michael Williamson, a call came in at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon for a house fire. When crews arrived on the scene they found the roof fully engulfed, I should say. Fire crews were on scene for several hours, making sure the fire was completely out. Williams says the homeowner confirmed a lightning strike started the fire.
Right now, it's pretty much a total loss because the roof is gone over it, but it can be rebuilt. It can be rebuilt, but it's a total loss because once we arrived, the whole roof was on fire. Once you have a roof is on fire, you pretty much it's a done deal.
1 person was at home when the fire started. Thankfully, they were able to get out safely. The Red Cross is responding to help the family. Well, school is just a few weeks away, and the Baldwin County School District wants to make sure your child is safe. With the recent school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, the school district says it is enforcing stricter safety measures. This includes training all school leaders in civilian response to active shooter events. The school district is also working on a crisis alert system at all schools. Classrooms will have an emergency button and a panic button necklace.
In the past, we have looked at intervening or reacting to an incident. We are very good at that. We have plans in place for that, but we are really focusing now on prevention. What can we do to prevent something like what happened in Uvalde, Texas from happening here?
The school district also wants to enforce locking all doors, and teachers and students will go through training so they know what to do in an active shooter situation. 3 people hope to be Georgia's next attorney general. Current Attorney General Chris Carr is facing opponents, Democratic State Senator Jen Jordan and Libertarian Martin Cohen. I spoke with them about what their plans are if elected. Georgia's top attorney is hoping to stay in office for another 4 years. Current Attorney General Chris Carr has held the office for 6 years. He's tackled issues like human trafficking, gang activity, and opioid misuse. He says if elected again, he plans to continue focusing on public safety issues.
Your community, your business, everything deserves to be safe. All Georgians deserve to feel safe. And from an economic development standpoint, it's not just public safety. It truly is. Companies will not locate in areas where, their employees are not going to be safe or feel safe.
Libertarian candidate Martin Cohen wants to address human trafficking, Amber Alerts, and Georgia prisons.
The follow your orders excuse is the exact excuse that my two opponents will use when doing something that is bad. That doing something bad for the public, not something immoral or illegal in terms of what the law is. They're going to follow the law, by God. They're going to follow the law. I'm going to do what's right.
Democratic State Senator Jen Jordan is hoping to build trust in government and prioritize Georgia residents. She feels the Attorney General needs to fight to protect the rights of Georgians. For her, that includes voting rights and abortion rights. She hopes people can get out of the pattern of partisan voting.
It's about time that we actually start voting for people who are the most qualified and who can do the best job. And I ask them to ask themselves, do you feel safer now than you did 4 years ago? Do you feel better now than you did 4 years ago? And if the answer is no, then it's time for a change.
You can vote for the Attorney General in the general election. That's on November 8th. Still ahead on 41 NBC News at 11, the January 6th House Committee holds a public meeting in prime time to detail President Trump's response during the riot at the Capitol. Plus, Kirby Smart will be a UGA Bulldog for at least another 10 seasons as he signs a historical contract. Our Shah's Parani will have the details later in sports.
This is 41 NBC News at 11.
Welcome back. In its latest hearing, the January 6th House Committee put the focus on President Donald Trump's real-time response that day. Using pre-produced videos and live testimony from former White House staffers, the panel laid out what was happening inside the White House as the walls of the Capitol were being breached. Chris Wen reports.
On Capitol Hill, the January 6th House Select Committee returns to prime time.
President Trump did not fail to act. He chose not to act.
Zeroing in on 187 minutes. That's the window of time between former President Donald Trump telling supporters to go to the Capitol and the time he tells them to go home.
President Trump sat in his dining room and watched the attack on television, while his senior-most staff, closest advisors, and family members begged him to do what is expected of any American president.
Representatives Adam Kinzinger and Elaine Luria led Thursday's presentation, laying out in minute-by-minute detail how they say the president failed to act while the U.S. Capitol was under attack.
Yeah, you're the Commander-in-Chief. You got an assault going on the Capitol of the United States of America. And there's nothing. No call, nothing, zero.
Thank you.
Testifying before the committee, Matthew Pottinger, a former Trump Deputy National Security Council advisor, as well as former Trump Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Matthews. Both resigned in the wake of January 6.
I simply didn't want to be associated with the events that were unfolding on the Capitol.
And I've seen the impact that his words have on his supporters. They truly latch on to every word and every tweet that he says. And so I think that in that moment, for him to tweet out the message about Mike Pence, it was him pouring gasoline on the fire.
Republican Vice Chair of the committee, Representative Liz Cheney, says the panel will spend August pursuing emerging information before convening more public hearings in September.
Doors have opened, new subpoenas have been issued, and the dam has begun to break.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
Now it's time to get a look at our weather. Here's 41 NBC AccuWeather Chief Meteorologist Cecilia Reeves. Cecilia, I know it got pretty rainy earlier tonight.
Yeah, we saw those strong storms that moved through downtown at Macon, even quite a few power outages, including here in our area, but we're starting to see everything really calming down for tonight. That being said, we're talking about more storms as we're heading into the rest of the week. This is looking out on our 41 sky view from Piedmont-Macon Medical Center is overlooking downtown at Macon, where we are seeing clear skies, but tomorrow we're talking about more storms. I've got details on that and a look at our weekend weather coming up next.
Thanks for staying with us. It's head football coaches Brian Nelson's 11th season at Mary Persons. 41 NBC's Bill Shanks chats with him about what we can see from the Bulldogs this upcoming season in the Coach's Corner.
We were back with Brian Nelson, the head football coach at Mary Persons. The Bulldogs 7-4 last year, averaged 31.2 points per game. You have a luxury in that, unlike most programs, you have a 2-year returning starter back for his senior season with Logan Hickman. What does that in itself mean for your offense to have that kind of experience back there?
Well, it's always nice to have a quarterback that has already been through it and you know kind of what you're getting from him. And Logan's a great kid. He's done a lot of good things for us over the last 2 or 3 years. And now his senior year, he's had a really good summer and looking for a lot of big things from him and leading our offense. And obviously we feel like he's got a lot of good tools to use around him that are pretty good football players.
Well, Duke Watson, top of the list, right? Now a junior, last year, 1,716 yards, I believe 9 100-yard games. You only played 11, so that's pretty good. He's an outstanding player, isn't he?
He is, and he's a really good tailback, but he does other things well too. I mean, he can block and he can catch the ball, and excited to have him back. He's obviously another year older and got another year in the weight room under him, and still, I mean, the kid can't even drive yet. You know what I mean? He's just getting close, barely turned 16, so he's still a young buck, but looking forward to big things from him, and then also our receivers.
Real quick, your offensive line lost Austin Starr and Jarvis Germany. How do you feel about replacing them? How's the line looking so far?
Not very good. I mean, we're it's a work in progress. I mean, we've got some guys that, 2 guys started for us last year. We feel good about them, but then there's a mix of about 5 or 6 guys who are really JV players last year, and we really need 2 or 3 of them to step up. Some of them done a good job this summer, but it's still a work in progress going into, next week and the start of official practice. That's going to be a question mark until we kind of get our feet underneath of us. But fortunately, with Logan, Duke, and then 4 or 5 receivers that we feel really, really good about, hopefully we can hold off until those guys kind of get their bearings up front.
First game, August 20th in the Macon Touchdown Club Kickoff Classic against Northeast at Mercer. Brian, thank you. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Bill.
You can see that full conversation with Coach Nelson and all of Bill's Coach's Corner interviews at 41NBC.com. After the break, a final look at your forecast with Cecilia right after this.